Never, never, never die. 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 Never die.
Fuck you. So it's not too bad, but what I wanted to get you on here for is, let me see, there we go. I don't know what the hell that fucking was. I wanted to get you on here to actually talk about music. I know like a billion fucking rappers out there. You know what I'm saying? I know so many people from my neighborhood, so many people growing up that are breaking into or trying to break into the music scene. And, I've met quite a few artists, but the thing is, I've never had a chance to actually speak to them the way I would like.
Sure.
And, you creating music, being on Spotify, putting out there, and you consider yourself an indie artist, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And see, that's the thing is like, no one ever hears the struggle of indie artists. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really trying to get yourself out there and hustle and promote yourself. Yeah. And it's so crazy. Like I said, after I received your album, when I bought it and found, we were introduced through Dave, and I was like, oh man, I'm always down to support my boys.
Sure.
So, and then I ordered a cassette, which you did a whole retro set. And I was like, made me go out there and find my cassette player, put it in, check it out, and then, find you on Spotify. After I found you on Spotify, I started streaming all your stuff. And I'm just like, all right. You know what I'm saying? This person, you can really tell with the amount of work that you put into this music that you're honing this craft. Wow. But, I really want to hear like the struggle of, and the ability to really like promote yourself and get yourself out there and be able to collaborate. And, just like in podcasting, you have to, network. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes networking, it's a two-way sword. It could be really good or it could be really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, you and me are pretty much the same age, I think. I just turned 40 in June.
Yeah, we're right. You're just a year older than me.
Yeah. So when we were young, when we were coming, in high school, coming out of high school, turning into, young Thundercats, just spreading our wings, whatever. It was different. The technology was really just becoming available. But it wouldn't be for several years that anyone could just get the technology and make a decent sounding product. So when we were young, if you had a band and you had so like I've always been in the rock and roll type of world, but it's really the same. Like if you had a band or a musical act or whatever, and you had made a CD or a demo or whatever, and it actually sounded good, it was like where I was at, that was enough to set you apart and get people's attention. And, that really worked for me and my bands that I was in. We would go to a studio. We had jobs, would scrape together what cash we had and make it work. And, you had to have decent music. It had to be, you couldn't just be putting anything out there in the same way that, like, I think a lot of people would say you can now. I don't necessarily know if that's true or not. But yeah, just having a good CD or a good whatever recording was enough to set you apart. And if you could play a good live show, you were golden. You could get people coming out to your shows and all of that stuff. With the advent of all the technology, not even getting to social media or anything yet, but just getting to, I can go, as you've got the gear to make a podcast now, right?
Yeah.
Was that even doable? Like what didn't exist, but it wouldn't have even been doable on the same level, 15, 20 years ago in the same way. So now it's very inexpensive, very easy to actually create something that sounds great. And in a lot of ways, that's awesome because it allows the people who didn't have the means before to create some great stuff. They're now able to, they can go and they can order an interface and they can get the software and make music. And there's all kinds of like, if I don't have a drummer, right? So I use like drum machine sounds, and sometimes I use real drum sounds, and I swear, like, to a lot of people, it's indistinguishable whether you have an actual drummer or you've got one of these new drum solutions, that sounds like a freaking drummer. So yeah, it's easy for people to make amazing music, and so as a result, there's just so much out there. You know what I mean? And I would say, like, for the longest time, I resisted like the social media thing. I really did. I was like, this is lame. I don't want to have to keep up all this stuff, and I feel like maybe about 10 years ago, as social media really became prevalent everywhere, and then everybody, your mom's on Facebook now, right? Like,
Yep.
right? So for a while they were like, you have to have a social media presence on every one of these things. You have to keep it up. It has to blah, 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 blah. And man, I was resistant to that. And I never really got into that. I was always just more about doing whatever I could over these past few years. And as the project I'm doing now here on Mars, I have a Twitter, and then I have a YouTube, I guess, would be another place where I interact with people. But for the most part, that's it. And I definitely not where I want to be. I mean, are we ever where we want to be?
Yeah.
Like, is it ever good enough? But yeah. But just meeting people through other interests besides music, like, Dave and Evan and Andrew, Terrible Terror. I don't know if he goes by his name.
He goes by Brian, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if he goes by Brian. I didn't want to be like Brian and yeah. Brian, like, all those guys I met through, I think that started with Star Trek and Dave. And then I met all of you guys, and I'm really into the post-apocalyptic thing. And other interests. I've met people through that, and then it's like, oh yeah, I do music. You know what I mean? You might like it, because everybody and their dog does it nowadays. And I've just had so much more success, just making friends and getting like listeners who keep coming back doing that. Now, granted, I don't have a ton of listeners. Like, there's people out there who are still, they're doing the music hustle, like, and putting in work, and it's definitely reaping rewards for them. But I guess it's just not my personality, man. I'm just not like, it's like when we're talking about 6ix9ine and we watched that documentary.
Yeah.
I watched that. It really hit me, man. I mean, it wasn't anything new. I knew who the dude was. I was aware of how he came to prevalence and all that. But seeing it all in one package like that, like, this is how he got big, this is what he did to get people's attention. It's like, oh man, I don't have that in me.
Yeah, even talking about that, it's like, it's so weird because that's what people want to see and that's what the public wants, but at the same time, it's like they don't want to deal with the aftermath of the repercussions of what this guy's done, and it's just like, oh my god, and just same thing how you're saying, like, as a podcaster, everybody's doing a podcast. Everyone and their dog's doing a podcast.
Right.
And it's so hard to navigate all this stuff. And talking about social media, like, I was on Instagram when it first started. And so being on Instagram when it first started, I just started posting. And I used to be a bodybuilder. I used to do bodybuilding. And due to injuries, I'm just not at that level at that moment. But I used to post nothing but bodybuilding, and then it slowly started morphing into stuff that I thought was funny. And then it went from and then it went from stuff that I thought was funny to stuff that I thought was hilarious and that I would never post. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm posting everything. And then next thing you know, I'm catching traction as a male Instagrammer. And then all of a sudden, memers became a thing. And then I became a meme page, and I'm just enjoying it because this is just stuff that I laugh. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff that I find. And
where does you get it? Where do you find that stuff, man? I laugh my ass off.
It's funny because like I do spend hours. I'm not gonna lie, I spend hours on my phone. But the reason I'm spending hours on my phone is because I'm interacting with people like you, other podcasters, other people, and then so stuff just happens to just pop up on my page. I'm like, that's fucking hilarious, and so I save it or I screenshot it, and then I put it in a little storage bank, and then and when I remember, I'll start posting. Yeah. And so and it's just and then people send it to me all the time. I'll get tagged in something, DMs. I'm like, oh my god, these people know my taste. And so, I start getting this up, but then that's how I start collabing with people, because all of a sudden I find somebody finds me, we start talking back and forth, and next thing you know, just like you said, through other interests and not just through podcasting, you make these other connections where people are just like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? And so, it's just crazy because, there's some parallels in how we do our things, but the thing is like music is so much more difficult than podcasting. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, it may seem like that, but it's like you said, everybody and their dog, especially this last year. I remember I was trying to help somebody find just a simple interface to get a microphone into their computer. This would have been around June of last year. And I came to find out with all this, Corona stuff, everybody and their dog decided that they needed to start a podcast. So they bought up all the gear.
Hey, and that's the truth. Everything's on pre-order right now. Like I said, I run a simple setup. Like I literally, before, all I used was my phone. And I used two phones when I first started doing this. One, my own iPhone 6 Plus would record me on video, and then I would record my audio part of my podcast with my cell phone. And that's because I didn't know what I was doing. Like I could have easily just did it with one phone and been done, but I don't know what I'm doing. So, and I never bothered researching how to do it. I just thought, well, it was the most simplest thing for me to do.
Man, the cool thing is, and it even with video like YouTube, like as long as it sounds okay, people generally are good with it. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's great, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. Like I said, one of those things that through podcasting, I ended up meeting a fellow coworker that was like, "Oh man, I heard you do this," and so he started showing me his and like I said, he's one of those like super computer he just literally like sat down in front of my computer, typed in a few things, and all of a sudden my sound is so tremendously better. And then you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the hell did you do? I was like, well, this is. I'm like. I didn't understand one word you said. Thank you for helping me. Yeah. I appreciate this, and he has his own YouTube channel, and his name's Victor. I can't remember his YouTube channel off the top of my head, but I will put it in the links in the notes. But he does video games, and he does like all the walkthroughs, and he's like a certified person who gets paid from YouTube. Yeah. And so, he showed me all this setup, and then after he showed me all this setup, and he's like, oh yeah, just get this and get this. And and literally I bought two mics, and he showed me how to hook up my mic. So both mics work on my computer, because I was having the hardest fucking time. Like, why can't I only get one to work? Yeah. And apparently there's a whole little, walkthrough system you can do, and which I didn't know. And so it just shows you, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's everyone bought all the equipment up, because I had a hard time getting a second mic.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah. It was crazy. And I mean, I haven't heard any of these podcasts. Like I just like real stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I like it. I like real stuff. When it gets too perfectly produced and it's like, nah, this is losing some authenticity for me,
Yeah. So, when you get edits, it jumps, and I'm just like, a lot of people, it's just like cutting out the dead space. Like, my
Right.
podcast, I clip off the beginning and the end just to put in the titles, and then that's it. It's 100%. Whatever the fuck we said is whatever the fuck you're gonna hear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that, and I like that, man. I do like that. Especially in a podcast and in videos, because I don't know, man. Like YouTube, I started going to YouTube and a lot of this stuff away from, like, I haven't watched cable TV in I don't know how long. Now, obviously Netflix has replaced that, and
Yeah.
I'm in Netflix and Hulu. I'm into that, but you
Me
know,
too.
man, yeah, when YouTube started and you had stuff like what we're talking about, it was so new. Everybody was super green at it. I loved it. And then, as people like learned more and more and more, it's like YouTube is now just a stepping stone for people to try and create like what they consider a legitimate like career in these things. And YouTube is even turned away from, a lot of its original, what made it amazing. You know what I mean?
That which is true. Because I just recently upgraded my YouTube to YouTube Premium. I didn't think I'd ever do that, but the only reason I did that is because I needed be able to get clips without commercials, because I could never tell when a commercial was going to come up. So I ended up getting it, and sure as shit, almost every TV show that I watch is on YouTube Premium, and I'm like, is this basically just a TV fucking app now? You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say what happens. Like, I love the idea of like the legacy media and all that stuff. If they can't adapt to what's new, then they sink. You know what I mean? And the new thing comes in, and I can't tell if they finally just realize they need to buy up everything and turn it into what they are, or if YouTube decided, no, we can do this and become like this. And I don't know, man, but I mean, I still love it. You can still get on YouTube and you can still like do what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
So it's always there. It's just all the other stuff's in my face, and I'm not a mature person. Like
at all. I'm the same way, bro.
Yeah. I see shit that annoys me, and instead of just moving on, I just want to be like, that's stupid. That's freaking dumb. I mean, like, that's just it's just my personality. So always battling it.
Nah, me too. I do. Like, I usually get upset at something, talk about it for a little bit, and then I can move on.
Dude, I think you've got a few rants that I've listened to a few times, because like, you're mad, but it, like, I'm not laughing at you, but
No.
I'm laughing at how you're going off, dude. Like the Lifetime Fitness one and the BarkBox one. Hearing you go off on BarkBox is like, is that what it was called?
Yeah, it was BarkBox and the other one ended up being the same. I didn't go as bad on the other one because they took care of us, but at the same time, I just kind of trashed both the box pet companies out there.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny too, because like everyone's like, I know it's not supposed to be funny, but it's hilarious. I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing. And I'm ranting, but the thing is, I always find it funny when people get that upset. So but the thing is when I'm generally upset, and I start ranting off stuff, I'm gonna start saying crazy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I say crazy shit in just regular conversations, but then sometimes I just go blank, and and it's flowing out of my mouth, and I can give two fucks less what the fuck anybody's got to say. You know what I'm saying? There's no the consequences don't mean shit at that moment to me.
I know what you mean. And it's just, yeah, man. I also think it's like, as we get older, like, and we start turning into these old men, like grumpy, like I'm not battling it anymore, man. I'm just laughing at the fact that I'm turning into this grumpy old fucker. You know what I mean?
Trust me, I'm really settling into this angry dad life, and you know what I'm saying? And it's just it's hilarious. Even my kids be like, what the fuck? And I'm like, hey, what do you want me to tell you? You know what I'm saying? I hate people.
They drive me up a wall, man. But I just in general, it has been a tough time, and I was telling somebody earlier, if it wasn't for getting like a Nintendo Switch, man, and just being able to like kill some time with my son this year, it would have been a lot more rough. I would have been a lot angrier than I am, you know.
Oh yeah, no, to be fair, it's been a tough year and a crazy year, but you know, it's like I'm always busy. Like I always try not to be busy. I always try to make sure I have downtime, but I'm always doing something, fixing something, taking care of something. And then me and my younger son started a YouTube channel, and so that that takes up time. And but the thing is I can get the kids to do YouTube stuff, but I can't get them to help me do yard stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
You know, like, and if I do get them outside, it's just complaining the whole time. I'm like, nope, I don't hear shit.
Go away. Can you imagine what it would be like being a kid these days compared to like when we were kids? Like,
oh man, I had to shovel a whole 50 fucking yard driveway with rocks and a shovel by myself when I was like 9 and couldn't complain about it.
Yeah.
I can't get and then I tell my son to go throw out the garbages, and when he throws them out, he's like, oh, why do I always got to do everything around here? I was like, oh my God, I'd have been beat to fucking death with that kind of attitude.
Yeah. I guess I had it pretty good, but like, you're right, man. Just stuff that people complain about now, like my job, like where I work, like younger people will start there, and it's like a nice cushy, like kind of office type job. And I don't get it. Maybe it's because the technology and there are a lot more of those jobs available, but I couldn't go work at a call center or like something like that when that wasn't available. And well, my personality anyway, I was freaking crazy, you know, and so that wasn't going to happen. But I mean, I was like washing dishes, and, I had a job or two like doing like construction and concrete, and so like some of the younger people who come in, I'm like, you've never had to do a terrible job, have you?
Yeah.
Like,
or physical labor.
Yeah, physical labor of any
Yeah,
like it. I don't know, man. It's just it's always like that though, because the old people were like that when we were young too. So
yeah, no, that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? But the thing too is like we create their generation the way they are because because when I just like you said, you had some crazy jobs growing up doing physical labor, and I did, and those are consequences of not doing school, not progressing in school, not being good at school. And because I did that, I had to, those are the consequences of that, is because I refused to learn. I accepted the fact that I would work hard, and like with my kids is, I push it so hard on them. They're like, why you always want me to do this and want me to do it? I'm like, because you don't know what it is to actually work. And because I've never shown you that, and because I never forced you to do that, this is going to make your life easier. And I try to do it because like I used to, a lot of my kids, all my kids, except for my oldest son, are too young to remember. I used to work at a place called US Pipe and Foundry. And I used to work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And that was the minimum. The minimum. A lot of times I'd work almost like 15, 17 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but now being working at Foundry, I used to work with molten iron. Yeah. So I used to be that guy in the full suit, pouring metal into molds. You know what I'm saying? Being literally so close to you can catch on fire.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like but
like some Terminator 2 shit.
Exactly. That's exactly what I used to do. All right. And never batted an eye. I've seen people get mangled, burned. I'm talking about. I've had people pass out. Me pick them up, take them outside to the supervisor, and be like, "Hey, take care of this guy," and then go back and fucking finish my job.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And it like on a cool day, it'd be like 140 degrees. You know what I'm saying? On a nice cool day.
That's brutal.
Oh yeah, and like the kids, like I said, my oldest remembers. But the other kids don't remember. I used to have to take 3 showers after work to try to get the majority of all the soot off me.
Yeah, I
You
bet.
know what I'm saying? I have to take a shower there, come home, take a shower again, and then after I eat dinner, take another shower just to try to scrape the fucking chemicals off of me.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's hard.
And oh yeah, it was brutal. But the thing is like that's why I pushed my kids. So just like I said, we're making a soft generation. You know, I grew up in the hood. I grew up gangster as fuck. I grew up doing crazy ass shit. And I tell my kids, I was like, you ain't. He's like, my son's all he acting like he's hard. I was like, no, you soft.
Yeah,
It's the reason you're soft is because I'm making you soft. You play
yeah,
video games all day and you can't complain about shit because you're
yeah,
eating every day without struggling.
yeah. I've never, I didn't grow up with a lot. Definitely, wasn't wealthy, man, but I didn't grow up like, I guess, single mom. Um, my dad's was a good dad though. He did his part and took care of us. So, we never, we never like struggled. There was always something to eat.
Well, see,
But
that when we're growing up like that, we don't notice that stuff because we're having too good of a time being a
yeah,
kid.
that's probably true, man. Like, but I'm thankful for the way I grew up. Like, I had a Nintendo, but I didn't have it right when it came out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
shit like that. But so I'm thankful for that. I'm definitely thankful for that. What you were saying though, there's a saying out there that says hard times create strong people create good times or
yep,
easy times or whatever. Easy times create
yeah,
soft people create hard times. It's like this.
yeah. That's
It's like, yeah, and I don't know where we're at in that. I would like to think that we're kind of still the strong people.
oh yeah,
I feel like we are.
oh yeah. No, we are
Yeah,
the
but
kids. You
yeah,
know,
I'm starting to wonder, man. And it's nothing on them. It's the way that it's what they came up in. You know what I mean? It's like you said, man. It's what they came up in, and it all mostly comes from a decent place. You want to give your kids as comfortable a life as you can, but you still want them to be resilient
exactly.
and yeah, that my one mission, man, in my life is making sure my son has what he needs when I'm gone. That's all I got right now. And if I get music done, well, I will get music done. But man, I do music. I'm starting a business that I'm not really putting out there yet, like publicly, but I'm starting an online business, which has opened my eyes. It's, doing a
Yeah,
legit business, like getting an LLC, doing all this stuff. It really opened my eyes and made me feel terrible for like people who've lost their businesses and stuff like that after all they went through.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. But yeah, just I'm just trying to I- I'm just trying to you know how it is. I'm just trying to keep it real and take care of what I got to take care of and make good stuff, like you're doing.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, that's the thing too. Is that's natural ability of a hustler, natural, like hard work,
Yeah,
putting it in, putting the time. We understand it's difficult, but the thing is, we have a good time doing it, no matter how much we complain about it. You know what I
that's
mean?
that's very true. That's very true. I don't feel like a hustler, but I guess I
Excuse me.
do. I gotta hustle. I got a side hustle, and
Yep,
on the music. So yeah, I guess I got
man. I'm coughing all of a sudden.
down the wrong pipe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's like I said, it's just always putting in the hard work, putting in the effort, and creating what we create. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I'm really dying over
man.
here. But it's just so crazy when you can see somebody create their art, put out their art, and then it becomes something. You know what I'm saying? That's
Sure.
one of the things I love about watching you, looking at your music, seeing your music, and hearing your music. Because when it pops on, I was like, I know how much effort it took to actually make that and produce that. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Thanks.
it
Thanks.
ain't an easy thing.
I'm right there with you though on kind of trying to step it up. Like recently on my YouTube channel, I always wanted to do this live. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I just wanted to um, play the song live. And mostly it's just playing guitar and singing it. but I am like incorporating it to where I can like improvise some stuff throughout some of the songs. But I started recording it with I have a webcam
Yeah.
that I was doing a single top down kind of angle. So all you're seeing is like my freaking dome shining back up. But it's like, well, it's better than seeing my extra chin, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Like I started with that. It's a decent webcam that records at, 1080p or whatever. I want to get a second angle. I want to figure out lighting and do all that stuff so that it looks better and it's a better presentation, but I still want to try to keep it. I don't want it to get too polished.
Exactly. You want to keep it within the spectrum of this is what like of what you like,
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's where I'm at, man. I'm learning through all of that stuff myself. I have to use an older computer to record the video because I have recorded the performance on video and done the music all from my Mac.
Yeah.
I mean, but it definitely puts it through its paces.
Oh yeah, no, it's putting that Mac through overdrive.
Yeah, man. And so I tried to like lighten the load, especially if I'm ever going to stream. You don't want to do all that from one computer. So I'm trying to keep the Mac as just music. And I've got this older, it's actually a Beats, like Dre, like Beats HP laptop from 2014, but I took Windows off of it and installed Linux.
Nice.
And dude, like I couldn't believe it runs like a new computer, man, with that Linux on it, and that's Linux is cool because it's like a free operating system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's really getting into some of that like computer nerdy stuff that I'm not super into either. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out.
Oh, me tell you right now, I ran the HP I was using was like 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Touch is like one of the first touch screens. And man, I was having so many problems with it. It wouldn't save, it wouldn't download, it wouldn't upload. I couldn't upload videos to YouTube because it would literally take 24 hours.
Yeah.
And if I didn't watch it, it would shut off.
Yeah.
And so that was the whole reason why I purchased this Mac. And like I said, it's not as seamless as I'd like it to be, but it's dedicated to the podcast. And it's funny too, because like I do all the recording, everything from the Mac, the camera in the Mac, all the audio, and being able to rip the audio from the video is just so much easier now. Once I figured that you can do that, I didn't, I didn't know that. I thought I was like, well, I got to open two windows, and I have this app I like to record with my audio, and then I'm gonna use this app to do the video, and then all of a sudden I'm going through settings, and then it shows, oh, audio only. I'm like, are you fucking serious? How for like this whole year, I was sitting there like, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah, some of that audio video codec stuff, it confuses. I mean, even me, man, and I've been doing audio now for 20 years. So, you're gonna definitely enjoy the stability and how things. Like the Mac isn't going to freeze up on you and have problems with your hardware, like your camera and microphones, things like it's not going to give you those types of problems. That's what I've always noticed. I've had one iPhone in my life, but I've used Mac computers for ages, and I don't like the Apple as a company. I think they annoy the hell out of me.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but as far as like stability and I mean, nothing is worse than being in the middle of recording something and then you look over at your Windows computer and it's like an error happened.
Yeah.
While you're recording something. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to talk about killing your vibe.
Oh yeah.
It's unacceptable, man. And so I just had that happen too many times with Windows machines and different types of hardware, and whatever it is that Apple does with the Mac OS, it doesn't really give me those kinds of struggles. It's rock solid.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've noticed. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the hardest struggle I have is just adapting to how to use it. You know, because I had a hard enough time just using a regular computer, And then now trying to use something that's just the next above that one, I'm like, oh my God. And then, but like I said, once I started playing with it, and I had to force myself to play with it because it must have sat on my desk for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Before I was like, all right, because I kind of got on it, surfed the web a little bit, did a few things that I needed to do with emails, and I just kind of walked away from it. And then, so it took me a minute. Now I'm more than comfortable with it.
Yeah, and you want to go back to it more. It's funny that you say that because my wife had just used whatever like PC that we had, because she like gets on and does YouTube and email and stuff like the websites.
Yeah, basic stuff.
Yeah. And it just hit me like last year. I was like, I want to get her a Mac because I want her to not experience these frustrating things I experience every time I get on it. So I got her one last year, and she's just now kind of coming around to it where, the other day she's like, I paid the bills on the Mac now and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. It's great, man.
Oh yeah, no, it's just how it goes. Because like I said, it's the one thing that like I said, I'm a fucking caveman when it comes to shit. You know what I'm saying? I had to literally force myself to like, I'm really gonna do this. Nothing's gonna stop me. And then I get distracted. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like
we all have our different attitudes, man. Like, if I need to know I know that if I need to know how to exercise my back without ending up in the hospital again, I can come to you.
Exactly.
Exactly. Everybody's got their strengths. Something that all that reminds me of, and tell me if you're like this, and I don't know if it's got to do with kind of the way we came up, but like when I buy myself like a new Mac computer, I like feel this guilt. Like, I'm like, there are people like out there in the world, like not having a job, right? All this different stuff. And I go through all these things and I go through this weird guilt. Like all my guitars are like really old, like I basically have a bunch of like, I've never drove a new car. You know what I mean? Like, all these different things. And I go through this weird guilt when I buy something really nice for myself. And like an Apple computer, it's like, I don't deserve this. You know what I'm saying? But then I go out and I see what people spend their money on. And I'm like, and what people post on social media, like, look at how I'm living, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, you don't give a fuck. Like,
exactly. None. And I am the same way. I hate buying stuff.
Yeah.
I will push it off as much, just like you said. Like I have all kinds of. I had a laptop.
Yeah.
I had an H laptop, 2000 or whatever, and it works. It's fine. And it literally took my wife to twist my arm to be like, you need to buy this computer. I'm like, but this one's fine, even though it was giving me all the trouble in the world. I just got to restart it. You know what I'm saying?
And then when you got it, you're like, oh my gosh, like,
exactly.
How was I doing without this? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'd say one area in my life that I've always been like spoiled or lucky is somebody has always like had a car that they would part with or whatever. And I have never had a car payment. That sounds insane.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely insane. And I told my mom that. I was like feeling bad about that. Like I told my, and she's like, but Randall, you were always willing to drive whatever, it was. And it's true. Sometimes it was like barely running type of scenario.
But it was running. It was moving faster than I'm walking.
Yeah, dude. And so like, I know that at some point I'm gonna get a nice car, like a nice new car for my wife and son. I mean, what we have now is fine. It's totally fine, man.
Oh yeah.
But we got it. It fell into our lap, just like cars always have for me. But I mean, dude, like, whether it's computers or guitars, or we went and we're looking at furniture, and we put all IKEA stuff in our house. You know what I'm saying? Like all like super cheap type of furniture. And we went and looked at like actual furniture stores, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
It's like $2,000 for like a armchair?
Yeah.
People spend that much money on that shit, you know, like blew my mind, dude.
Oh
Blew
yeah.
my-
Nah. It definitely does. You know what I'm saying? Because that's with this whole Corona thing going on. That's the one thing I've done this year that I don't ever really do, and that's spend money.
Yeah.
Like I said, and it's not that I'm a penny pincher, stuff like that. I just I don't see the need to buy stuff if I can do stuff or make stuff, or like, you know, it's good enough. But the thing is this year, like I said, we remodeled, me and my wife really remodeled the kitchen because I just had the shoulder surgery. And so she literally laid down new floor. You know, I'm coaching her through the whole thing, but you know, redid the counters, painted the cabinets, and completely, you know, we bought all new washer, dry, or not, yeah, we bought a washer, but new, you know, appliances and all this stuff. And and it's just like at the moment in time, I'm like, do I really? But then one thing at a time, because we haven't received our appliances yet because everything was on back order. So one dishwasher went out, the microwave's falling apart, and I'm like, it's a good thing we fucking bought that shit. But the thing is, this is like, when that price tag hit me, I was like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, I can't believe we're doing this.
Oh man, but you'll be, it's like you said, like when you get it, and you're like, man, I didn't even spend like this new computer. I was using an old Mac before that, almost like about 10 years old. Yeah, when you get it, you're like, okay, this needed to happen. This needed to happen. And I didn't go all out. I didn't buy like some $5,000 like, you know, laptop. Even if I did, whatever, you know, I don't do that regularly. I think it's just, you have to be okay with treating yourself a little bit sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you definitely have to be able to treat yourself when you need it, because like when I was you know, before I bought this Mac, because you know, I probably discussed it 4 or 5 months before with everybody around me, like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about doing this, and people are like, why aren't you doing it? You need it.
Do it.
And then one of my buddies was like, let me tell you something right now. I have a Mac. I bought my Mac 10 years ago, and it doesn't give me any issues. And I was like, I was like, look, that's what happens when you buy a Mac. It's gonna last. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because like the way he was explaining to me, if you buy an HP, you buy a PC, they're designed to go out every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Nothing can be updated. Nothing can be what's called the power goes out, all this stuff. But the thing is you're gonna constantly spending that extra money to get another laptop, But if you buy a Mac, guess what that Mac's gonna do? It's gonna stick around.
It does. It really does, man. Like it is one of those things where you get what you pay for. And, you know, honestly, like for years, they didn't use different parts than really any other PC you would go out and buy. I don't know what it is. Obviously, there's like some proprietary stuff that's unique to Macs, hardware wise, and even more now, like they're going to start building their own processors and all this other stuff. But, I don't know what it is, man, but it does. It lasts longer. It just feels like a better product. And I just wish everybody put that much care into what they, you know what I'd
have a lot more better time buying stuff if I knew it was the quality that I like, because sometimes a lot of times when we buy stuff, the quality is not there anymore.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. You're right. That's like, you know, like with IKEA, like for instance, there's definitely some cheap shit in IKEA, but you know, there's also like I bought all the stuff that's made with actual wood, you know, for the most part. It's still cheap and it looks cheap, but it's made with actual wood. I can sand it, restain it, like our table that we had, you know, stuff like that, man. Like, but yeah, I wouldn't say I'm not thrifty myself. My money always goes to experiences. Like I love, like my favorite thing in the world is to get with some friends and go out to eat, have a meal.
Yes.
I'll spend shitloads of money on
Oh,
that.
yeah, exactly. Not even blink an eye at it either.
Yeah. Get myself a coffee, like a Starbucks,
Yeah.
like all the time. Shit like that. Like I'll blow money on that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like now, I mean, you can see in the back of my room, like I've got all kinds of bullshit here. But I mean, a lot of this is like 20 years old. You know?
Yeah, it's all stuff that I accumulated way before any of this stuff. Let me tell you right now.
Yeah. So yeah, especially in these times, man, it's important to be able to what do they call it, a little bit of self-care.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And that's one of the things that I miss about this whole, because like I said, I love gathering with my friends. Like I said, I know we're far apart, but I don't have parties, but I have get-togethers where we're watching the fight, or I'm gonna barbecue dinner. You know what I'm saying? Everyone comes over, and I'll go all out. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go get this. I'm gonna get some good meat. I'm gonna get some good drinks, and that, just like you said, that's how I love to spend my money. Is the enjoyment of everybody else having a good fucking time, and no one, no one, it's not no one complaining, but no one are bored. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's having the experience.
Yeah, I miss those times, man. I really do. Like, I know you got like the best weather in the world there. It's like, oh man, dude, it's getting like stupid cold here. But I really love, like, one of my favorite things about, like, now it's too cold, but like fall, when it starts getting cold, man, and you can like fire up, the chimney, or like, back in the day, we'd have a bonfire, a bunch of boys out in the country, like you laugh, man. Like it's funny to think about like all the friends I have who are like, out on the coast, grew up like in a completely different life. Like I would love to just see like your faces like coming to Kansas, and just like I love taking somebody who lives in LA and has been in LA for like ages. I love just taking them out to like a pasture, and they're like, wow. They're like, it's never like this where I'm at. It's just,
oh yeah,
it's funny seeing their face, man. And it's probably funny, like when I would go and visit my friend who, lived in Hollywood, I'd just be walking around Santa Monica Boulevard and shit, just like, damn, like this is crazy. You know what I mean? It's just,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's experiences. That's what I like, man. That's what we'll go. So
no, that's definitely the way to do it. Experiences are the best way to go. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you can buy stuff, shit breaks, but the thing is when you have those memories and you can reflect back, those are the moments and times. Those are the things that I always try to create with my family as much as I possibly can, because that's what I have when I was growing up. You know what I'm saying? It's like I remember like going to the lake. I remember, riding in the back of the truck. We all got to lay down. Don't fucking pop your head up, or fucking, you know what I'm saying? Going down to the flea market. You know what I'm saying? Or
that's awesome.
Yeah, those are the times.
Yeah, you're up in the Bay Area, right?
I'm in the Bay Area. I was like 5 minutes away from Oakland, but I moved. I'm still in the Bay Area, but I'm on the outskirts. I'm in a place called Fairfield, so it's just like right on the cusp of the Bay Area now. Gotcha. And it's freaking beautiful out here, regardless of what anybody fucking says. Everyone's gonna bitch and complain about it, but let me tell you now, besides the fires, we're okay.
Oh my gosh, when I see those fires, man, like I can't imagine, dude. I cannot imagine like some of the scenes we see on TV where it's just this massive, like, everything's engulfed in flames. I'm like, shit.
And see, that's the messed up part is I'm literally on that part of here. Like the fire was literally one city over from me.
Yeah, that's freaky.
So, yeah, especially because we have had a lot of days where it looked like it was midnight.
Yeah,
because there's so much smoke, or like how the sun would be completely bloodshot red. You know what I'm saying?
Was it like that growing up? Like, or does it seem like
not as a kid growing up and as a teenager to my 20s? I've never seen the fires like this. Like we would have one here, one there, but it was never this bad. And all of a sudden, it's fucking horrible, man. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, man. It's crazy. The time.
That's it. Telling you. Well, Rant, thank you for coming on. I appreciate having this good conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's a long time coming because I've been. It's trying to get people on, trying to settle times, and everyone's time zones. It's fucking insane.
Nah, this is great, man. This is great. It's we've been friends a couple years, and it's always cool. Like, I find that everybody in this posse, like you, Dave, Andrew. I'm sure if I ever get on and talk with Brian, it would be similar. I haven't talked to Pat a whole lot, but I see his videos and stuff.
Yeah.
All those guys, man, Evan, like, you and me have never talked before, but we get right on and it's like, what's up, dude? Yeah, all right, man. It always feels like I'm talking to friends. I respect everybody's positivity. You guys always keep me inspired to be a more positive type of person, and that's hard for me. And so, yeah, it's great, man. And I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Oh yeah, no. Well, we're definitely gonna do it again, and that's one of those things about like this group of people is it's crazy because like we're all like-minded, we're all trying to get positive vibes, and we're really genuinely like all excited about our work. You know what I'm saying? And we're all willing to share and all willing to be on each other's shows, and that's what's the great part is that's the one thing I love about being in the network that we're in. It's like we're all over the board. It's a little bit of everything.
It is a little bit of everything. I love it's slightly irregular. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
And with that being said, let everyone know where they can find you.
I always just direct people to my Bandcamp. That's the best. Like with these days with indie musicians, Bandcamp, if you've never heard of Bandcamp, that is just the coolest place to go and find independent music. It supports artists directly. I always feel weird calling myself an artist, but it supports artists directly. So Here on Mars, all one word, HeronMars, HeronMars.bandcamp.com. And I got links to all my other stuff from there. All my digital stuff is for free download. And it's going to stay that way as long as we're in the way we are. I'm kind of weird. Like I would rather people go and download all my shit for free. And who knows what the future brings, man. If we lose like internet connectivity, if stuff gets spotty, you're not going to be able to stream stuff. So I always want people to have that digital copy. So it's all free, but I also got copies for sale. All my links are there. So HeronMars.bandcamp.com.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm the Angry Dad. If you want to watch my shit, IGTV, YouTube. You want to listen to shit, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, SoundCloud, Deezer, iHeartRadio. This motherfucker's everywhere. You can easily fucking find it. Rate, review, like, subscribe, all that bullshit. I'm also part of the SIP Network. It's a slightly irregular podcast network group of powerful podcasters out there sharing our shit. SIPnet.us is our website. It'll take you to every one of our links, every one of our sites, and every one of our platforms. Also, too, SIPnet, it's a Network SIP on Twitter, SIPnet on Instagram. Make sure you check us the fuck out. And thank you, Randy, for coming on. And you know what? I'll see you guys on the next one. 100. Fuck.
Never die. Always living. Always living. Always living. Always living. Always living. Always living.